The relationship between Prince William and Prince Harry has reached a devastating new low, and this time, the battle lines are being drawn in a courtroom. In what is being described as one of the most explosive developments in the ongoing royal feud, Prince William is reportedly preparing to take legal advice and explore legal routes to stop his younger brother and sister-in-law, Meghan Markle. The future king is said to be absolutely furious over plans for a new commercial media project that he views as a blatant and deeply offensive exploitation of their late mother, Princess Diana. For years, we have watched these two brothers drift apart, but this latest clash touches on the most sacred and sensitive subject in their lives, the memory of the mother they both lost so tragically. The source of William's intense anger is a reported upcoming documentary series being developed by Harry and Meghan. According to details published by Radar Online in a report by Aaron Tiney, a veteran British tabloid reporter with deep connections to the royal household, the Sussexes are actively working on a major documentary project to mark the upcoming 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's death next year. This high-profile production is believed to be part of their ongoing multi-million-dollar deal with the streaming giant Netflix. The documentary is set to focus heavily on Diana's life, her complex relationship with the British media, her struggles within the monarchy, and the profound, lasting impact her death had on her two young sons. For Prince William, the very concept of this project is described by palace insiders as sickening, deeply distressing, and utterly depressing. It is not just the fact that his mother's life is being put back on screen, it is the commercial nature of the production that has reopened deep, painful wounds. William firmly believes that transforming their mother's tragic life and ultimate demise into marketable, profit-generating content is incredibly distasteful. He is convinced that Diana herself would be absolutely appalled at the idea of her personal struggles being repackaged and sold to a global audience for commercial gain. What makes the situation even more painful for the Prince of Wales is that this project represents a direct breach of a solemn public promise. During the 20th anniversary of Princess Diana's death 10 years ago, William and Harry stood together and made what was understood to be a definitive decision. At that time, they participated in two landmark documentaries, one for the BBC and another for ITV. These projects were intended to be their final, definitive word on their mother's legacy. The brothers made a public, gentleman's agreement that they would no longer speak out about Diana in major media projects or allow her memory to be continually commercialized. William took that agreement deeply to heart, believing that they had finally put their mother's memory to rest in a respectful way. Now, he feels completely betrayed by Harry's decision to throw that agreement out the window, seemingly the moment Meghan Markle entered the picture. However, Harry's perspective on this is entirely different, and it highlights the vast ideological gulf that now separates the two brothers. According to insiders close to the project, Harry is completely convinced that he has an inherent, unassailable right as Diana's son to commemorate her life in whatever way he sees fit. In his mind, his mother's memory does not belong to the royal family or the palace, and it certainly does not require his older brother's permission or consent to be shared with the world. Harry strongly resists any suggestion that Kensington Palace or the royal institution should hold the authority to dictate how Diana is remembered or presented to the public. Furthermore, Harry's motivations are deeply tied to long-held grievances against the royal family. He has long harbored the belief that his mother was poorly treated and ultimately failed by the very institution that was supposed to protect her. In Harry's view, when Diana desperately needed empathy, support, and protection at critical moments in her life, the palace walls offered nothing but cold indifference. Because of this, he does not view the British monarchy as a credible or rightful custodian of his mother's legacy. He is adamant that her true story can only be told honestly if it is produced entirely outside of the royal family's control and influence. But for William, the issue goes far beyond Harry's right to speak. The ultimate breaking point for the future king is the active, behind-the-scenes role that Meghan Markle is playing in this project. William is reportedly deeply disturbed by the idea of Meghan piggybacking on Princess Diana's legacy, a pattern of behavior he believes she has exhibited for quite some time. He feels that allowing Meghan to influence, shape, or derive any financial or reputational benefit from Diana's legacy crosses a deeply personal boundary. It feels less like a genuine tribute and more like a calculated betrayal. To William, it appears that the Sussexes are using his mother's memory to validate their ongoing campaign against the British royal family. While Harry's supporters often point to Diana's own criticisms of the monarchy, royal historians remind us that although Diana was highly critical of her husband, now King Charles, she never sought to destroy the institution itself. In fact, she wanted the crown to pass directly to William. Now, William is left watching what he perceives as a commercialized attempt to weaponize his mother's memory against the very crown he is destined to inherit. He is ready to use every ounce of his influence to stop it, but the question remains, does he actually have the power to halt a multi-million-dollar Hollywood production? To understand whether William can actually stop this Hollywood juggernaut, we have to look at the cold, hard, legal reality of the situation. While palace aides warn that William is prepared to take this as far as necessary, exploring every legal avenue and institutional obstacle, the truth is that a courtroom victory is highly unlikely. The agreement William is clinging to so tightly was never a legally binding contract. It was a gentleman's agreement, a public promise made between two grieving brothers on the 20th anniversary of their mother's death. William took that pact deeply to heart, but Harry threw it out the window the moment Meghan Markle entered his life. Legally, you cannot sue someone for breaking a moral promise, meaning William's consultations with lawyers may ultimately amount to nothing more than empty threats. But the legal limitations only make William's frustration run deeper, especially because the platform behind this project is Netflix. Netflix is a massive trigger for the Prince of Wales, and for very good reason. William has never hidden his absolute disgust for the way the streaming giant dramatized his family's history in their hit series, The Crown. To William, the show went far beyond creative storytelling into downright creepy and offensive territory. He was particularly horrified when they chose to recreate his mother's fatal car crash, even going so far as to store a smashed-up replica of the vehicle for production. The show also depicted Diana returning as a ghost and suggested Catherine's mother, Carol Middleton, actively conspired to set up her daughter with William. While William accepts that private media companies will do what they want, what he could not forgive was Harry's reaction. During an interview with James Corden, when asked if he watched the show, Harry gave it a tacit endorsement, claiming it was actually better and more accurate than what is written in the British newspapers. To William, this felt like Harry was actively siding with a platform that was commercially exploiting their mother's tragic death. With legal options looking slim, royal experts suggest William's real power lies in institutional and commercial influence. Royal biographer Angela Levin highlights a crucial point. Prince William is the future king of the United Kingdom. Very few global corporations, no matter how powerful, want to find themselves completely detested by the heir to the throne. It is simply bad for business. William could choose to bypass Harry entirely and appeal directly to the executives at Netflix. This strategy is highly plausible because Netflix has recently gone into business with King Charles and Idris Elba on a new documentary project, proving they value their relationships with the working monarchy. They would think twice before permanently alienating the future king and queen, William and Catherine, and ruining any potential for future collaborations. However, this strategy comes with its own set of complications. Because Harry and Meghan now operate under a first-look arrangement rather than an exclusive contract, if Netflix did decide to shelve the project under royal pressure, the Sussexes could easily take it to a competitor like Amazon or Apple TV. But even those platforms have established ties to the crown that they might hesitate to jeopardize. Amazon recently produced a major royal special with King Charles, narrated by Kate Winslet, while Apple TV has collaborated with Prince William and Eugene Levi. While Hollywood insiders argue that a Diana documentary featuring her own son is an irresistible goldmine, opportunity that any network would scramble to buy, the threat of commercial retaliation from the palace is a powerful deterrent. Levin is also deeply critical of Meghan's influence, arguing that her active involvement behind the scenes guarantees the project will have a highly destructive tone. Meghan has made no secret of her dislike for the royal family, and Levin believes she is entering this production with a bitter attitude, ready to paint the monarchy as cold, unsupportive, and villainous. In Levin's view, Meghan has completely changed Harry, leaving him a shadow of his former self. But the consequences of Harry going ahead with this project are absolute. Experts warn that if Harry allows this documentary to air, William will permanently sever all ties. Harry will never be allowed to represent the crown or participate in any royal events ever again. While some argue Harry already knows the horse has bolted on that front, it makes his permanent exile official. This escalating stress seems to be taking a heavy, visible toll on Harry. In a recent video released for the Halo Trust, commentators were deeply alarmed by his physical appearance. Rather than looking like a confident Hollywood producer, Harry looked shockingly unwell. Observers noted that he appeared extremely pale, exhausted, and completely lifeless, with no energy or concentration in his face. It is a stark reminder that behind the multi-million-dollar deals and global headlines, Harry looks like a man in a very bad state, buckling under the weight of an endless family war. This physical and emotional toll on Prince Harry isn't the only storm brewing within the wider royal family right now. The spotlight has also turned quite brutally on Prince Andrew's daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Daily Mail diary editor Richard Eden recently posted an explosive message on social media, stating that while he had defended Princess Beatrice for years, reading the newly released Epstein files left him feeling completely betrayed. This has prompted a massive wave of public scrutiny, with many demanding that the two sisters finally break their silence on their family's dark past. While some commentators speculate about behind-the-scenes leaks and finger-pointing within the palace, the overarching sentiment is that Beatrice and Eugenie can no longer be viewed as entirely innocent bystanders. The core of this outrage stems from the evidence suggesting that the sisters were too deeply connected to their parents' scandalous dealings to claim ignorance. Specifically, when Jeffrey Epstein was released from prison in Florida, a party was thrown in his honor, and both Beatrice and Eugenie attended. At the time of this visit, they were 19 and 20 years old. While some might argue they were simply young and perhaps misled by their mother, Duchess Sarah Ferguson, critics point out that as adults and representatives of the royal family, they had a responsibility to ask questions. It is incredibly hard to believe that they could visit a convicted child sex trafficker days after his release from jail without knowing who he was or doing their own research. This controversial visit has deeply tarnished their reputation, leaving many royal watchers feeling physically sickened by the association. This unfolding crisis with the York sisters only adds to the sense of a monarchy in deep turmoil, but the central, most explosive issue remains the battle over Princess Diana's legacy. At this stage, the rumored 30-year anniversary documentary project has not been officially confirmed by Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Netflix, or Kensington Palace. But whether the film actually materializes or the threatened legal battle battles ever reach a courtroom, the damage has already been done. This clash highlights the deepest emotional fault line in the modern royal family. For William and Harry, Diana is not just a beloved historical figure, she is their mother. The fact that her memory remains a powerful, divisive weapon of conflict is the ultimate tragedy of this ongoing royal war. What do you think? Is Prince William right to seek legal action to protect his mother's memory? Or does Harry have every right to tell her story on his own terms? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. Over 50% of you watching right now haven't subscribed yet, and hitting that button is a free, simple way to support the channel so you never miss our in-depth royal news and media analysis.